I'd like to introduce Shelly Burton, and she has her a Reiki business now. This is how much she benefited from Reiki. She became a Reiki Master, and she has a business here in Toronto called Reiki with Shelly, and she's going to tell you all about her journey, and I hope you enjoy this. So, welcome, Shelly.
Hi, thanks so much, Lorraine. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Shelly. It's a privilege to be speaking with you today. As Lorraine mentioned, I am a Reiki practitioner. I am based in Toronto, but I do work with clients around the world as well. Reiki played a really important role in my life, helping me heal from a serious head injury. So I'm going to talk to you today about my story and how Reiki actually helped me learn to listen to myself or build my intuition or gut, and how that process was actually necessary for me to be able to heal my brain or my concussion. Okay.
So, sorry, Shelly, just before you start, I know you wanted to know who knew what Reiki was, so let me give you the results of the poll because I forgot to make it public. So we have 23% have had Reiki treatments.
Awesome.
15% are Reiki practitioners.
Awesome.
41% are familiar with what it is, and 21% have no idea what it is.
Okay. So before we dive into my story, I'll just do a quick overview of Reiki. It's an ancient healing art that was developed in Japan, and it's basically, there's healing energy all around us, and it's channeled through my hands or through the practitioner's hands, and it basically acts as, you could think of it as a battery pack to boost your natural healing ability. It works on multiple levels, so mental, emotional, physical, conscious, or subconscious. So it's a really great way of harmonizing the body back into wellness and getting to the roots of any unease in your life. Yeah. In my sessions, as the story goes, I became quite intuitive, so I also give a lot of feedback about what I feel was released in the sessions in terms of emotions that are underneath current challenges, but that we'll get into that in a minute. So, yeah. So my story, my problem, I was entering my 4th year of my undergraduate degree. I was a biomedical science student at the University of Guelph. And everything appeared to be on track. I had a 4.0 GPA. I was just nominated by my university for the Rhodes Scholarship. I'd worked so hard for the starting spot in the basketball team because I played for Guelph. I finally got it. I rode horses. Things were going well. And, you know, I had developed a real passion for global health, and I thought, all right, so how I'm going to help improve global health is by establishing myself as an academic, and I foresaw an academic career. But in our second game of the season, I hit my head in a game, and I played the next day, with a concussion, which was a terrible idea. And I'd had multiple concussions before, but this is one I just couldn't bounce back from after 3 weeks of rest. And I was sent to Canada's concussion expert at the time, or she was considered an expert, Dr. Karen Johnston, because rest and recovery it wasn't enough. I found I would get better, and all of a sudden I'd go sliding backwards with the symptoms of nausea, dizziness, felt like I was in a fog or a cloud and I couldn't concentrate. I was really sensitive to noise and energy, and I could actually see energy, but at the time I didn't know what that was, coming from a biomedical science background. Just all kinds of challenges. I couldn't watch TV. If I walked to the corner, I'd be so tired I'd have to go to bed for the day. I was a fighter. I was used to being able to push through everything, so I was at a loss at what to do. And by observing what was happening, because I thought, all right, so what the doctor's saying is not working. And I noticed that every time I listened to myself or my intuition or what my body was saying which most people understand is like listening to your gut, right? I got better. And every time I overrode what my body or my intuition or my gut was trying to tell me, I slid backwards. So this started what felt to me like a whole new process of learning how to operate in the world. And it was taking in information differently and making decisions differently. I could no longer override and do things that made logical sense to me to reach some lofty goal in the name of future success. I had to tune into now and what my body was telling me now to be able to function. So through that, I got interested in, all kinds of things, and like yoga and meditation, and started seeing a Chinese medical doctor, and that healed me enough to get back to school full time. Now, the effects of the concussion still affected me. I still had to sleep a lot more. I couldn't go to the gym anymore. I still couldn't integrate motion properly. But I was able, and I still had my energetic sensitivity, but I was able to function. I went on to graduate at the top of the university, and I went to Oxford and did a postgraduate degree in a field I loved. And from there, I thought, okay, I am only going to be able to survive if I do what I love. So I was inspired to start a social enterprise called Rhythm of Change. It was between South Africa and the UK, and we partnered with the Black Eyed Peas Foundation in LA and did all these exciting things. My vision was to awaken the next generation's potential to make a difference through a new wave of music, art, and multimedia programs. So despite following my passion, eventually reality hit me after 2 years of work, and I realized, oh my gosh, this concussion is really affecting me still. I'm not balanced within myself, so how can I create a balanced organization? It's not going to work. And how can I help other people heal if I'm not healed myself? And I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to heal the rest of my head injury, but I knew something had to change. So I closed the social enterprise. I moved back to Canada and asked, how do I do this? And that's when Reiki came into my life. So that's the prelude. Reiki, it came in gently. I trained at the suggestion of a friend, not thinking much of it. It resonated. And the more I worked at it, practicing daily self-treatments and really committing to the work, like every week going to see a practitioner and shamans and everyone else who came into my life as a result of it, the more my life changed. And I really mean really work at it. You can get trained in a weekend, but the benefits come with the consistent work. Where to start? The biggest changes happened after I did retrain the second time with a woman. She was trained by the granddaughter of Takata, who brought Reiki to North America. And I studied with her for 11 months. And things that happened were, for example, I sent distance healing back to the moment of my head injury. And for the first time in my life, my head cleared. Like, I could think practically again is the best way I could describe it. And it was something I didn't even know what I was struggling with until I felt what it was like to think clearly again. And I didn't tell anyone for 3 weeks just to make sure this was for real, and it was. And after that, I was able to work full-time again. What else happened? I just learned my gifts came through. As I learned to listen to myself, I stopped getting overwhelmed by other people's emotions. I learned my intuition developed the more I healed myself, which made my sessions better in the long run with others. I learned how to make decisions. I developed both sides of my brain and my being, and I knew that I was strong enough to be here in this world as a now very sensitive person who felt what everyone else felt since my head injury. So basically, I had struggled with this for 8 years, but since Reiki came into my life, within about a year I was able to heal it full time, or heal the head injury completely. And now I'm very honored to go on and share this gift with others. The breakthrough moments, just to recap how it helped me, is it helped me tune into just emotional challenges that I was having and to heal those and to help me see the way forward for myself, which was necessary. I realized I was strong enough to be here, and it just didn't matter what was going on around me because I knew how to listen to myself so that I could express my gifts and do my soul's work here on the planet, which I knew I was supposed to figure out how to do, and it got me strong enough and tuned in enough to myself to be able to do that. And I now specialize in working with youth who've had head injuries, and their path to healing is greatly accelerated because I understand, like from my perspective, why the injury was created, because they're looking for a way out. So they felt trapped, and they didn't see the way forward for themselves, that they could express all of who they were into the world. So yeah, that's I don't know if there's any questions at this point. I can take them, or I can keep going.
Sorry, I'm just looking because somebody said something here.
Yeah, I know you wanted me to stick to 15 minutes, so
No, it's okay. It's okay. We're good. Okay, so what Sally is saying is, she says, I think there are many participants that don't know what would be entailed in a treatment.
Okay.
Like that.
So and again, your sessions will vary with each practitioner. My style of doing it evolved over time based on other teachers I had and what I saw work. So in my sessions, the typical way is they turn people over. So they'll do your front and then your back, but I keep people on their back on a massage table. Just like if you're going to have a massage, you'd be lying down on your back. And then I'll start. Are people familiar with the chakras? That would be a good thing.
They are, for the most part, if they are holistic nutritionists.
Okay.
Can't say everyone is, but...
Okay. So briefly, you can think of, for anyone who's not familiar, chakras are like the 7 major energy centers in the body, and they start from our crown and they go down to like our pelvis area, which is called our root. And they're wheels where different emotions and parts of our body intersect. Okay, and they're also associated with different thoughts. So for example, our solar plexus, where the gut is associated with our sense of power. Having power and the will to, create a life that works for us or to go forward in the world. So when we feel that we're not in our power, people feel a lot of anxiety and tension in the solar plexus, or what many people would think of as the gut area. So I start on the crown like this. I'll call in the energy, and there's an intention set that the healing be sent to the person's highest good. So I start like this, and then I go in hand positions over different areas down the body. So I'll do the throat, the heart, all the way down to the root. And if there's anywhere that's particularly sore for people, I can come back to that. So during the session, the person's relaxed and quiet. They will have told me beforehand any challenges that they're having. And while my hands are on, I receive intuitive feedback about what's being released. So for example, it could be a memory from childhood that's coming up for them, and the emotion of that experience. It could be they were feeling put down, they were feeling not heard, whatever that was. It often matches the emotion of the current that they're struggling with in their current life. So we can go back and heal that so that they're empowered to move forward in their life with that pattern cleared, if that makes sense. So the sessions it's an hour. I send the energy for about 50 minutes, and I type the whole time about what I'm receiving. I'm also a channel. That's something developed as I became more intuitive. So I'll just get messages for people that I consider are from spirit, and they often resonate deeply with them. Just about, being supported, or something is coming through for them, and I pass those on as well. Yeah. I also include sound healing and stuff like that, but that just came in naturally. So does that help? Any other questions about what the session looks like, or the outcome?
I think that explains it very well. You're getting a lot of very positive responses here.
Yay!
Laura said, you are amazing. Love women who follow their path.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Gal is asking, is progress, sorry, I have to lean forward to see this. Yeah. Is it a progressive treatment, sorry, are there different levels?
Yeah, well, for training, okay, so from the training end, your level 1 allows you you get initiated into the first level, then you can practice on yourself and practice on friends. The level 2 opens you up to more energy. And then you have the ability to actually practice Reiki, and also you learn how to do distance healing, which is something that blew my mind at first, but it actually does work. And then the level 3/master combined together to give you the ability to teach and initiate others into the system. So that's from the practitioner end. In terms of progress for clients, what I found, people come for different reasons. Some people they'll come every week, and they're still coming every week because they're feeling the benefits it's having to them in terms of their ability to listen to themselves and find their way through this world in a way that's working for them, so they're feeling lighter and brighter. Some people will just have, maybe a really difficult breakup that they went through, or they're having a work challenge, and once they feel that that's been solved for them and they're okay to carry forward, that was enough for them, and they'll come back when they feel ready. So I'm hoping that's taking two angles at that question, so I've covered it for you. Feel free to ask any clarifying questions. But what I will say about healing work is that it never really stops, because you can always grow, right? There's always more of yourself that can be expressed into the world, and learning how to do that and live authentically you and clear all these silly fears that come up. Yeah.
We have another question from Amy. She's a fellow practitioner, and she would love to connect with you. So do I have your permission to send out your email to all
Yes,
the attendees?
please, absolutely. And I'm happy to give the webinar attendees 10% off any sessions. I'm also doing Reiki training on June 20 and 21st to level 1, so I'm happy to give 10% off that too.
Oh, yes, we'd be happy to chat with you.
Yeah, please email me. I'd love to talk to you.
Be starting to do, I'm assuming, studying Reiki on cancer patients soon, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's amazing. That would be a great support. Yeah, because, I mean, from my experience, a lot of things that show up in the physical body, there's underlying emotional components that have to be addressed, and Reiki is a great way to do that, as well as for people to know they're just not alone. It's really powerful for people to have their feelings acknowledged.
Stephanie wants to know, does it work for eating disorders?
It could. It definitely could. I'm trying to think. I haven't personally had a client with that challenge, but definitely it would, because what are they? I mean, just look at eating disorders. They're starving themselves. So what are they missing in their lives? Sometimes it could be they're looking for control. These are assumptions, but it might be the only way they feel they can have control over their lives or how they're seen. So definitely, and giving nourishment in a different way, energetically.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, of course.
There's another question here about do you do work with autistic youth?
Yeah, because I found that kids that are autistic, in my experience, they actually, again, this is my experience, one child I work with, I found he actually felt very deeply. He just had no idea how to express it into the world, and his mind worked so differently. He was just really frustrated by current systems and everyone telling him what to do, that he kind of had to shut down. And I worked with him a lot to build his confidence and to teach him, hey, sometimes as kids we can actually feel what other people feel, and it can be kind of overwhelming. And through that, he was able to improve his communication, and the tantrums slowed down, and all these behaviors he was showing at the dinner table improved, because I felt where he was at, so I could help communicate to him in a way that worked for him. And yeah, we did other things too, like meditation, breathing exercises, all those kinds of things too, which were part of the package. But definitely Reiki for autistic kids, it's another way into feeling where they're at. Yeah.
Okay, and we have two other questions here. One is, they're kind of related. Do you do training online?
Not online yet, but I do distance healing online. I am building at some point, it won't be Reiki training online, but I am building something called a spirit school, which has actually come from requests of the kids I work with. So right now in person, I do lessons about crystals, energy, smudging to clear energy, oracle cards, flower essences. So that eventually will move online as a teaching platform. But in terms of Reiki, it's in person, because I feel that that is definitely the best way to learn is through experiencing the work yourself. But I am available to teach other things like information online.
Okay, well, thank you so much for, if anybody has any other questions, just type into the chat. But in the meantime, thank you very much. I think this is a wonderful element for us to be considering working with protocols and working with other practitioners who do different modalities, because you know, we all know if you can't move them emotionally, or if they can't move past emotional blocks, and it is hard. It's a really difficult thing. So I think it's just amazing that you've brought this element into our conversation. And clearly from the comments we're getting in the chat, we're getting lots of very positive feedback. So that's great.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for listening. It's a gift. And if anyone is not in the Toronto area, I will add in, and has questions about how to find a good practitioner, please also feel free to write me, and I can help you with that.
Okay, so I will send out that email with all the contact information sometime later today, and you can all take it from there. So thank you very much, Shelly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome to stay on and keep listening, but we're not going to go much longer. As I mentioned at the start, my presentation is going to start, and then it's going to continue on tomorrow morning.